All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gilligan's Islands. We're on the back nine now of 21 holes. I'm Dave Brunstein, your commentator.
I'm Kyle Westling.
Both co-tournament directors here. This is sponsored by Basket Bashers and put on by Sandridge Disc Golf Club. All right, here we go. Kyle, you were not too far out of it, man. Just one stroke out of the lead on this card. It's a pretty tight scoring group here. Looking pretty good. See a lot of green on these scorecards here, and hopefully we'll see a bunch more. This is hole 13. This is a tight hole here. It's a lot of trees to hit. So it's makeable. You can park it. It's very difficult to do. Don't see a lot of people do it. Usually you see them land right about here where the drone is. And then they have a nice upshot here if you land in the middle of the fairway. But boy, it's easy to get kicked off to the left or the right. We're making the upshots very difficult. All right, Kyle, what you throwing here?
This is my cosmic lift that I like to throw, and here I go. I just pulled it way too far right of the line that I was trying for.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. You get kicked off a little bit, and it makes the upshots pretty hard. All right, Kolby makes it around the big tree. Nah, not quite.
He was going to the left, and the log over there knocked him right. But he's still actually close to the fairway.
All right, let's see what Andrew brings up here. Throwing a driver of some sort. And he gets knocked down early. Should be all right, though, for his upshot, be able to get up near the basket. Dan again.
And this was gorgeous.
That is beautiful. That's how you play this hole right here. Not necessarily gimme putt, but boy, he's got a real good look at a birdie here. This was not one of our hazard islands. That would just been way, way too hard. And this hole scored as the toughest hole of the day here. And with all the trees, I mean, I think you can see why.
Oh, I think I'm going to show you exactly why it's one of the toughest here in just a moment.
Oh, that is a tough break.
Yeah, that went about 20 feet.
Yep, I have been there, done that on this hole. That was a nice bid, a nice approach. Should be looking at an easy 3 there. Yeah, that's tough. You really didn't have much of a look there. There's probably not much else you could do with that. All right, Dan. Very nice birdie there. You don't see a whole lot of those. In fact, he was the only one on this round to get a birdie. Oh, Kyle.
Yep, I think that was the killer for me, is this hole right here got really in my head, especially after Dan got the 2.
Oh. Andrew with a tough roll away, hitting the cage. Yeah, a bogey and double bogeys were not uncommon in this hole, unfortunately for our players here. Ooh, double bogey. That hurts. All right, so 14, Kyle.
Hole 14 here, 232 feet straight at the basket. We did not make this an island because that gap that the drone just passed through is a very, very tough gap to get through. This hole is already pretty difficult, so we just left it as is.
And it's all about making that gap there. Once you make the gap, depending on how far you end up from the basket.
You see, he made the gap right there, but just the angle of trying to do it, he cut it too hard and didn't make it very far after that.
And he flicks it. That's kind of interesting. I don't see a lot of people flick this hole. Interesting.
And again, didn't make the gap as, because it was so, that's what's in everyone's head. Andrew pulling it too far right. Then I'm even going down to a putter, just trying to make the gap here.
I think a putter, a nice neutral putter is That's a good strategy.
And I do the same thing. I just pulled it way too far right.
As long as you don't yank it like that. It's kind of an aggravating hole because I've played this so many times, and it's just one of these holes that you know you can ace. You can get to the basket. It's just making that stupid gap. There you go with Kolby with a nice upshot. Another nice upshot from Dan. Certainly not going for the 2. Andrew with his Luna. Very distinctive stamp on there.
See, and all of us pretty much did that upshot just to get to the basket here.
Yep. Exactly.
You know, and you could kind of see it on everyone's face here. You know, we're all just waiting to tap in these pretty disappointing birdies because, as you said, are pretty disappointing pars because this is an easy hole if you can make that gap, and none of us did.
Well, you shouldn't be too disappointed. There were only 2 birdies on this round in that hole. All right, so off to 15 we go. This is a very straight hole. Goes straight for a long ways down this fairway. You got a lot of hard packed dirt there, so skips are a thing. And then it turns to the left right at the very end. It is possible to park this hole, but boy, you got to get your shot just perfect.
Tricky part about this is the actually tee pad direction is you're actually facing the wrong way, and you see a lot of us coming off from the side to cut it in half to get the right angle.
And I think that's part of the age of this course. I'm thinking that the reason that tee pad is at that angle is because the fairway was configured a lot differently back then when Steady had designed it.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of nice to see that, you know, things can get more difficult with time because of new trees and fairways. You know, it kind of makes it a little bit more difficult for us. Makes it more fun.
Yeah, it's an interesting hole for sure. Kolby with the nice drive. And Andrew keeping it low.
And the one tree to beat and just goes right into it, but he still has a putt there. And Yank City for me.
Did you go in the woods? Nope.
Right into the tree right on the right. And you can see I was starting to get a little frustrated as honestly I was trying to let go of hole 13 and it was still in my head.
Yeah, but see, you make up for it with a nice upshot there.
Yes.
That'll be a nice little easy tap-in par. There you go. What a nice birdie there for Andrew. That is probably gaining a stroke in the entire field right there. And Kolby fails to do the same.
Now, Dan here does have lines. If you go a little left, see, there you go. He makes it right there. If you go a little left but a little short, you do have some stuff in your way, but the lines are there to make that putt.
Right, they are. All right, so some tap-in pars.
So you can see the mistake is to go more right like I did and hit the tree and bounce short. Hole 16 here is another pretty straight shot, kind of like 14. Very similar distance at 224. You have a couple of trees right there in the center of the fairway to beat, but once you do that, you're straight shot all the way over to the basket. Again, your move here is not, your mistake is to make sure you don't pull it right is the problem. That was a great shot. A little short, but highs it out so it gives him the easy putt around that bush. And there you go,
yep,
pulling it
makes
right.
it right. That's going to make his next shot really difficult. Now this is a play that I've done before, flick something over stable like Kolby's doing here. Except you don't want to hit that tree.
That's the one miss, you know, it's missing these two trees and then not yanking right on your shot is the...
There you go. Look at that. Beautiful shot, Kyle.
Very, very happy with that one.
Yeah, you should be. That's an awesome shot.
Again, that was the proxy, an understable putter from Axiom, and I just let it go with hyzer, let the disc flip up, and just glide all the way.
Wow.
We were all very impressed. I remember that shot, and we were all very impressed with that out.
That was a great, great out. Yeah, that's a nice putt there, Dan. Or Andrew. Sorry about that. All right, let's see if Dan can put himself another stroke down below par. I'm going to bet he does.
His putting has been pretty on all the whole round.
Has.
So there he goes.
There you go. See, I had confidence in Dan there. I knew he was going to do it. Kolby seems to be struggling a little bit here in the last few holes. He's losing a lot of strokes and probably losing strokes in the field. Okay, so 17. This is a very straight hole with a slight left to right finish at the very end. This is one of our island holes, isn't it, Kyle?
Yeah, this is, and it was very difficult to kind of pinpoint how far, just the way that was for off the tee. You can almost, when you threw, you couldn't tell even if you made it or not. So it was one of those, you want to use your regular shot that you usually do here, but you don't know if it's going to be good enough. There's Dan just not quite getting there on the Anheuser throw there.
I see a lot of people go with like what you're doing here. Something just a little bit of ante on it.
And I kicked one of those two trees on the right there.
If you don't get that ante right, though, just like what you just said, you're going off in the trees.
This was beautiful.
That's a good shot. But he didn't quite make it to the island.
And that's what I was saying. We didn't know until we got up there. It was a very deceptive island and kind of added to the difficulty of this hole.
Now, this is the shot I normally like to go with. Forehand. Let her skip up there if I can execute it properly.
And Kolby right there did execute it properly because that was right there. Seeing out of the woods, just a hyzer out, trying to make it drop in. But still right there for the bogey, unfortunately.
This hole played as the 6th hardest hole of the day. And I think we can see why. We only had 6 birdies in this round. And this hole averaged just a hair above par. Averaged 3.12. Nice par save there from being in the hazard. And Kolby's got a good look at birdie here. Oh, yeah.
One of those birdies right there. If you have that forehand distance, that is probably the best play. But I know I'm a primarily backhand player, so I had to go with that, and it didn't quite work out for me. All right, hole 18. Again, right in that 240 foot distance range, but this one has a hard right turn to it. You come on down, missing the 2 trees in the fairway, again right in the center, and then turning right to go, and it almost comes back. If you follow, it almost comes backwards. It turns right so bad. So you might see a lot of forehands here from the right-handed players.
And I think this is the right play, is using a forehand, obviously not putting it into the trees. I like to throw a driver here, flick it, with nice wide rim, and just not with a lot of power so that it will skip up to the basket. It'll get a nice big hyzer or skip up to the basket.
And that was a great Anheuser shot there from Andrew. It just wasn't quite long enough forward to beat that corner. Dan doing the same thing here. And again, short.
Yeah, the distance on this is just can be really deceptive to just get it just right.
And I just let go way early.
Interesting. Kyle going with the flick here. You'll see that a lot out of you. But it looks like it worked.
Anything under 200, it is a utility shot for me, but I have it just... You could tell I don't like to go to it as much with the uncomfortability of it for me. Here you go, Kolby going for his birdie from the woods here. Probably the straightest shot of them all, and just off the rim. Oh, and a little farther away. But should be able to save that par.
There you go. That's a nice birdie. Actually, all birdies are kind of nice, aren't they?
Yep.
Oof. Kyle, what are you doing there? That's tough.
Just a little off target. We're using PDGA Live, and following the score, knowing that I was falling down was kind of getting in my head there. Because a hole 13 kind of bugged me.
All right. We'll be throwing in for the easy par there. All right, off to hole 19 we go. This is one of 3 temporary holes, so the next 3 are temporary holes. Everything on the roadway is a hazard, so you have to land in the grass to not be in the hazard. So this isn't quite an island. This is a little bit different. And it's quite a long hole. There were only 2 birdies, so it kind of gives you an idea how hard it is. This is sitting at 381 feet. And with the rather interesting left to right nature, I feel like it played a little bit longer, but did he make it out?
No, he was actually short of the road, but on the grass on the left and short, so he was actually in.
All right, that's good.
I feel like you're going to see this a lot as a forehand.
Yeah, a forehand I think is the right play if you've got the distance in the forehand, because that's the way the hole just kind of naturally goes. Wow, what a shot. Stays in. Oh my goodness. Boy, he put it right up there next to the basket. What a great shot. That's fantastic.
Mine was a little too turned, but ended up getting on its edge and sliding up as well.
Dude, that is a fantastic shot. That's great on that hole. Well, Andrew's got his work cut out for him here. Goes with the hyzer play here. Winds up a little short. I believe he hit a couple of branches on the way in.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that was one of his zones. He threw mostly disc-craft, if not all disc-craft, if I remember right. And
oh! Wow, that is a fantastic birdie there. Guess what? That was only one of 2 birdies in this hole.
Yeah.
Oh!
There was not one. I had to run and just not quite on target there.
Well, you buzzed the tower.
And I did not go past it for the OB, which I was excited for.
You know, a par in this hole does feel like a birdie for a lot of us.
Until you see 2 people on your car do it like that. They both executed very well.
Fantastic birdie from both Dan and Kolby here. They were the only ones to get birdies in this round, in this hole. All right, nice par there, Kyle.
All right, we're going on to the very short hole number 20 here. It's 159 feet. But here it is, right on the left here. You see this bunch of trees, and it's actually tucked in there, almost like a left U-turn. Very difficult because of how short it is to kind of lay up, to that spot.
Distance control is everything in this hole.
And that was really good because
That's
you
perfect.
see that gravel road. None of that plays OB, but you hit it, you're skipping and away from the basket. So.
Wow. Dan just playing it perfectly there. That's how you do it.
Andrew going too short there and playing with the high ceiling.
That's that distance control I'm talking about right there. If you, it's the right line, but just not quite long enough.
And here you go, Dave, all distance and no control.
Exactly. Now you've left yourself a really, really tough putt out of there. And so is Andrew here. This is, I mean, you can see it. He's in jail.
And he had a little bit of a gap, but just not quite there.
Kyle, did you have a gap here?
Big enough to fit a disc through? Not really.
Oh, but you hit the pole, though.
I did hit the pole.
Nice.
That was kind of one of those up and hope it lands close kind of deals because I couldn't see it.
Well, I think that distance control kind of gave us a lot of scoring separation on this one. Considering how short it is, it's only 159 feet. But still, not a lot of birdies in this hole, considering how long it is. Lots of pars and even some bogeys. All right, off to 21. This is the last hole. And this one we made an island. And this is one of those, I think, pretty much everybody in advance should be able to park with how we laid out this island. But it's just one of those holes that kind of gets in your head. It's not particularly tough. But this is the play, I think this is the right play here when you're righty. It's to flick, get it in there, spike that hyzer, and it just doesn't go anywhere. I like that play. That's how I did it, and guess what? That's how I got CTP on this hole.
All right, and down there, the other shot you could do is to turn over Anheuser. He's in the circle. And there's the one mistake you can make is going a little too far right, like Andrew did. So I started off this round with that plasma proxy, and I'm going to finish it with it here, and just not giving it enough power.
Need more power. Oh! Just missed for the par save there. There you go. Nice par save, Kyle.
You can tell I was excited with that one. Finally, something going right in this back nine for me.
Kolby finishing with a birdie. Puts him at 6 under. See what Dan does here. See if he can put another stroke down. And he does. Puts himself double digits down after one round. That's a fantastic score there. Yeah, bogey, that's a tough way to finish. Yeah, here we are. Dan in the lead. He's got the rest of the card by 4. And
Dan playing very, very good golf there.
Absolutely. A lot of green boxes in his score. Not as many green boxes in yours, Kyle.
Oh, there's enough green. There was just that purple one.
Yes, exactly.
Because not only was that purple one in my score, it was also in my head, which kind of related to the rest of the round.
Yeah, I can understand that. I know the feeling. So
look at that. 3 ahead of, in the lead by 3 strokes with almost 1,000 rated around there for Dan. Mm-hmm. We'll have to stay tuned for round 2 to see if he can hold it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us at Madeline Bertrand Park. We'll see you just a little bit here for round 2.